Pick the wrong laptop for Linux, and you will waste $800 to $2,000 on a machine where the Wi-Fi doesn't work. The trackpad freezes after suspend. The battery drains in 4 hours instead of 10. I've seen it happen over and over. Smart people, expensive laptops, total nightmare. I ranked 5 laptops from worst to best. One of them has a spec almost nobody checks, and it will save you from months of driver pain. I'll tell you exactly what it is at the end. Here's the thing about Linux and laptops. They don't always get along. You can buy a gorgeous $1,400 Ultrabook today, install Ubuntu, everything looks fine. Then you wake it from sleep and the Wi-Fi is gone. That is not a made-up problem. It's a chipset problem. MediaTek Wi-Fi cards are still poorly supported. Intel AX211 cards, they just work every time. Same story with graphics. Buy a laptop with a hybrid NVIDIA TPU on Linux, and your battery life can drop by 40%, just because Linux can't switch graphics cleanly. The laptops I'm about to show you, they don't have those problems. These are the 5 that genuinely just work. If you don't want to waste money on a laptop that fights your distro every single day, subscribe right now. And stay until the end. That spec I mentioned, most people never check it, and it will make your buying decision so much easier. Okay, let's get into it. Number 5, System76 Lemur Pro. This is the lightest Linux laptop on the planet, 2.4 pounds. That is lighter than most Chromebooks. System76 builds every part of this machine for Linux. Open firmware, open drivers, their own distro. Nothing is hidden, nothing needs a workaround. Open your terminal on day 1, Wi-Fi works, Bluetooth works, suspend works, function keys work out of the box. I know how basic that sounds. On Linux hardware, it is genuinely rare. Battery life is the real story here. System76 rates it at 14 hours of real use. Real world with VS Code and a browser open, you will see 10 to 12 hours easily. That is more than a ThinkPad, more than the Dell XPS. The display is 1080p at 14 inches. It is not a showstopper screen. Colors are accurate, brightness is decent. But if you need a 2K display for design work, this is not your machine. At $1,199 with 16 gigs of RAM, you're getting a fully open Linux computer that won't fight you for a single day. For the price, that is hard to beat. This is for the developer or remote worker who travels constantly and just wants it to work. Number 4, Dell XPS 13 Developer Edition. Dell was the first major brand to take Linux seriously, and the XPS 13 Developer Edition proves they still do. This ships with Ubuntu pre-installed, not as an afterthought. Dell's engineers tested and signed every driver. Firmware updates come through the package manager. No rebooting into Windows, no USB drives. That 2.8K OLED display is genuinely stunning. If you do front-end work or document design, you'll notice the difference immediately. Colors pop in a way that 1080p just doesn't match. Real-world performance under Ubuntu is smooth. Docker containers, node builds, Python environments. The Intel Core Ultra handles all of it without throttling. Boot time with full disk encryption? 4 seconds. Battery in real use lands around 8 to 9 hours, enough for a full workday without hunting an outlet. One thing, and I want to be upfront about this, Dell often sells Linux models on last year's chassis. The Windows XPS 13 might be a generation ahead. You are paying the same money for slightly older specs. But here's the honest trade. You get 0 driver pain. On Linux, working hardware beats newer hardware with broken suspend every single time. At $1,199, this is the MacBook Air of Linux laptops. Sleek, silent, refined, ready to work. Number 3, ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 12. The ThinkPad X1 Carbon has been the default Linux laptop for engineers and sysadmins for a decade. There is a reason for that. Driver support on this machine is the best in the industry. Not among Linux laptops, among all laptops, full stop. Fedora, Ubuntu, Arch, Debian, every major distro installs and runs cleanly. The Intel AX211 Wi-Fi card is rock solid. Power management? Perfect on every distro. For daily work, terminals, IDEs, Docker, Kubernetes, this machine handles all of it without a stutter. You can run 4 Docker containers and a video call, and the fans stay near silent. The keyboard is the best you'll find on any laptop. ThinkPad keyboards have been trusted by engineers for 30 years. That reputation is earned. Battery in real-world Linux use? 10 to 12 hours. That is genuinely impressive for this class of machine. One honest caveat here. Newer ThinkPad generations have started soldering RAM. On the Gen 12, you cannot upgrade memory after purchase. Order the 32GB configuration if you run virtual machines. You will not regret it. You will regret the 16GB. At $1,399, this is still the most reliable choice you can make for a Linux daily driver. Number 2. Framework Laptop 16. This laptop is the only one on this list you can actually take apart and upgrade yourself. Not just RAM and storage, the port layout, the keyboard, the GPU module. Framework built this machine in public, working directly with the Linux community. Fedora and Arch users tested hardware before release. The BIOS supports open firmware flashing. Every module is recognized instantly. For daily Linux work, this is a powerhouse. The AMD Ryzen 7 84SH is one of the best chips you can get for Linux right now. AMD's open-source GPU driver is mature and fast. No proprietary driver drama, no secure boot fights. That 116-inch 165Hz display is a real bonus. If you do video editing, UI design, or gaming on Linux, the smoothness you get here is genuinely noticeable. Battery life on this one, 6 to 8 hours. That is the honest trade for the bigger screen and AMD power. Not a deal breaker, but you will charge daily. And it weighs 4.6 pounds. This is not the laptop you carry to a coffee shop every day. This is the one you carry to the office and leave it there. At $1,399 with 32 gigs of RAM and upgradable everything, you are buying a Linux machine you can use and repair for a decade. Number 1. System76 Oryx Pro. This laptop compiled the Linux kernel in under 3 minutes. That is not a benchmark, that is a daily workflow. This is the only laptop on this list that was built by a company that only builds Linux computers. No Windows division, no compromise. The firmware stack is built from scratch for Linux. System76 even ships a custom open firmware, so you never need Windows to update your BIOS. Pop! OS comes pre-installed, tuned and ready. Real world with the RTX 4070 on Linux, CUDA workflows, AI model training, GPU rendering. It handles all of it without manual driver installs. System76 ships with hybrid GPU switching dialed in. Most laptops with NVIDIA on Linux, that alone fails. The 144Hz display is smooth and bright. For developers and power users who also game on Linux, this is the only machine that handles both well. Now, at $1,899, this is the most expensive pick on this list. But here's what that price actually means. If you spend 3 months troubleshooting NVIDIA drivers on a cheaper machine, what was your time worth? One bad week of driver hell costs more than $500. Battery is 6 to 8 hours under normal use. Bring your charger on long trips. This is a workstation laptop. Act accordingly. This is for the power user, the ML engineer, the developer who needs every tool to just work. There is no better Linux laptop than this if you need GPU power. If you are torn between the ThinkPad and the framework, drop a comment below. Tell me your workflow, and I will tell you exactly which one fits your daily setup. Okay, here's the thing I promised you. The spec almost nobody checks before buying a Linux laptop. It's the Wi-Fi chipset. Not the brand, not the Wi-Fi 6E label on the box, the actual chip inside. Before you buy any laptop for Linux, search the exact model name plus Wi-Fi chipset, then check it against the Linux hardware database. If it has an Intel AX201, AX211, or BE200 inside, you're safe. Every major distro supports those cards. Sleep, wake, hotspot, all of it works. If it has a MediaTek or Realtek Wi-Fi chip, expect pain. Dropped connections, failed suspend, hours of forum posts. This single check takes 90 seconds. It can save you months of frustration. You came in not knowing which laptop to trust, you're leaving with a short list that will not let you down. All 5 links are in the description below, direct to current pricing on every model. If this saved you from buying the wrong machine, hit the like button. It helps other Linux users find this video before they make the same expensive mistake. Next video, the 5 Linux distros that work best on each of these laptops, including which one finally makes NVIDIA on Linux painless. That one might surprise you. I'll see you there.